Okay, so to start things off, just show of hands. How many of you have ever stopped to think during the course of your education about how you were being taught? Okay, so what I'm here to talk to you about today is learning theory, specifically constructivist learning theory. And by the end of my presentation today, you should have a better understanding of the principles of constructivism, how constructivism is applied in the classroom, and successes and failures that constructivism has had in practice. So before we can get into the what of constructivism, we have to get into the why. And so this chart perfectly illustrates one of the two principles I'm going to talk to you about today, which is the idea of social interaction. This is outlined pretty well by Fei Zhu in research published in Advances in Child Development and Behavior. And basically, the idea is, in contrast to behaviorism, which is probably the theory that we all in this classroom grew up with, there needs to be a dialogue between teachers and students, and between students and students. And the idea is that students learn the best, and they get the most out of instruction when they're engaged and involved in creating meaning. Another principle which guides constructivism is this idea of scaffolding, where students use the skills that they already have, whether that's critical thinking skills or prior knowledge in the field or time management skills, to learn more, to learn new things that they haven't previously encountered. So now that you kind of have an idea of how constructivism operates, or the principles on which it operates, we'll look at how it can be applied in the classroom. Pritchard and Woolard collected a bunch of different strategies you can use in the classroom, published in Psychology for the Classroom, Constructivism and Social Learning. And what they found is that constructivism works best, and what they suggest is constructivism works best with collaboration, whether that's collaboration between students, collaboration between students and teachers, or collaboration even between subjects and curriculum. And that brings me to the first idea that you can use in the classroom with constructivism, which is cross-curricular instruction. The idea that you can read a real book that maybe ties into history or science, and then use that to teach both subjects at the same time. And on a more straightforward note, you can also have students collaborate on maybe making a game, or you can have them just collaborate on any work, and the idea is that they'll get more out of that than if they were just asked to regurgitate information on their own. So, has this been successful? It's really a mixed bag. I actually visited an elementary school in Mesa, Zaharis Elementary, that operates on this theory. And what the principal will tell you, Mr. Oliver will tell you, and Tobias and Duffy found in a collection of research that they gathered entitled Constructivist Instruction, Success or Failure, is that the biggest obstacle to constructivism today in this country is state-mandated assessment. The reason that this is such an obstacle is because it's decidedly not constructivist. It's very hard for students to go from being taught in one way to assessing them in a completely different way, asking them to sit down for prolonged periods of time with no interaction between a teacher or students or anything like that, and asking them just to regurgitate information about stuff that they've read and stuff that they should know. But there's also literature contained within that review which suggests that it can have success. And indeed, some researchers found that sometimes it's really the only option, especially when you have behavioral problems, to keep kids' attention and keep them more engaged. But the theory does have its share of detractors, and they'll usually tell you that this is just an excuse to coddle and protect the self-esteem of students, as eloquently illustrated by this cartoon. But whether or not these accusations have any merit or foundation in research is debatable. So today I've talked to you about the principles of constructivism, how constructivism can be applied, and examined whether or not it has been successful to this point in this country. And I want you to walk away from here today, and if nothing else, just maybe in a future class, take a look at how your instructor is teaching you, and think about why they're doing it that way, and what they hope to accomplish by doing that. Thank you.